Gent-Wevelgem on a Sunday? Time was we had it the Wednesday between Flanders and Roubaix, and the races were still too far apart. And a Kemmelberg? Consarn it, you too good to straight line this canyon to slick cobbles? Oh well, at least it's properly cold and you get... What, the buses? All the way to the coast? Why not just race it on scooters?
The objections of grizzled prospectors notwithstanding, I think riders might have staged an open revolt if another race went off without some concession to the protracted misery of this spring classic season. And anyway, Philippe Gilbert and Heinrich Hausler still showed up representing for the Hot Hands Club, despite literally freezing conditions and crosswinds strong enough to split the field from the gun. The peloton was still stitching itself back together from those early splits as the TV cameras came on and the attacks kicked up. Vacansoleil's Juan Antonio Flecha stuck the first big move, cranking it up from 15 wheels down and blowing past the soft pedalers at the front without so much as a nod. Astana's Hassan Bazayev and FDJ's Mathieu Ladagnu bridged shortly thereafter, and the peloton settled in comfortably behind them. Here's Fabian Cancellara saying something to the effect of, "I'm ready for Flanders, let's avoid the risk and call it a day." Probably with the word blanket thrown in there somewhere or something. For all the thrill of watching Steen Vandenberg hot dog around a moto or hop onto a sidewalk with an energy bar in his mouth, when Tom Bonen clips a curb in the scrum before a climb, you can't help but realize the risk that comes with each spring race. Gent-Wevelgem is really defined by the Kemmelberg, and the first time up it, Flecha dropped his companions, but with 61k to go declined to continue on alone. Sky drove the bunch over, but failed to shell any big names, though as this footage shows, Bonen did drop out atop the climb, and possibly was the second gunman on the grassy knoll. The brake's advantage was slowly hewn down after the Kemmelberg, but less from chasing and more from start and stop surges. About 57 kilometers to go, Hausler got sick of it and powered away alone. After a few kilometers chase, a group driven largely by Cannondale's Maciej Bodnar on behalf of Peter Sagan, and that included the Chiron-smashing Andrei Amador Bikazakova, caught Hausler and eventually reeled in Flecha's trio too. Second time over the Kemmel, the brake dropped Bazayev, and while Bodnar wavered, "Does Vandenberg just handle a bike better with something in his teeth?" Sorry, on the descent, Bodnar managed to chase back on, just in time to get a flat and chase again. But I'm sure that team car making a dead stop right next to him played no part in his return a mere kilometer later. Now you'd think all the riders in this 12-man move would be at least partially interested in making the brake stick, but, Vandenberg has this Cavendish guy back in the bunch, and then Jens de Bucherer flatted, and Eisel has like 1,000 teammates who could win if they get caught. So we saw a lot of Bodnar, Greg Van Avermaet, Flecha, Amador, Hausler rotating awkwardly and occasionally getting mad at each other. The end result of this situation was the most awkward 40-kilometer Cold War I've ever seen. A group that mostly wanted to stay away, chased by a tired peloton that probably could have brought them back, but that didn't want to waste matches and that also wanted to hold Sagan out in the breeze for as long as possible. Hausler tried to escape a few times, but once Sagan started taking his pulls, the attacks fell off. Inside 10 kilometers, the chasers ratcheted things up, prompting the escape to get active. Flecha tried his luck through a roundabout, and at 6 km, Sagan prepared to throw down the gauntlet by throwing down some gauntlets. Shortly thereafter, Bodnar cracked, and Vandenberg, seeing Sagan isolated, tried an attack just after the Cannondale rider pulled through at the front of the bunch. Unlike last week, Sagan showed a bit of reserve, reacting quickly but holding off to let Flecha close the gap. When the brake-weary Spaniard signaled for Sagan to pull through, the Slovak champ put his head down and went, just as Astana's Borat Bosic decided that Flecha's wheel was the one he wanted to have. And that was pretty much it. Sagan rolled home with a triumphant wheelie, while Bosic, who was just a Cancellara in the group away from doing a perfect Gerald Cholik impression, used a beautifully timed burst to pip Van Avermaet at the line. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.
We didn't have any of these fancy video streams neither. We got snippets of French wire stories over a 4-baud modem and paid French Canadians to translate it. And we couldn't read them. They had to be narrated by John Tesh. It was a contractual obligation with CBS Networks.